Hi.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Banterly, the Gen Z podcast where we discuss and dissect pop culture and media. I'm Aidan.
And I'm Aditi.
How are you? How's your last week been?
I've been working out more. That's a new thing that I'm doing. I'm trying to build healthier habits. And my entire body is in pain. So at what cost is what I ask.
Yeah.
What about you? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I was going to be going to Miami to surprise my friend for her birthday. And I did that and it went off without a hitch. It was wonderful. She was shook to her core. I think she's still recovering. But it was really lovely and a wonderful little vacation. So yeah, no complaints. It's been a fun week.
I love that. Did you do anything for St. Patrick's Day in Miami? I would assume it would be crazy down there.
We somehow stumbled upon a parade, but we didn't get to watch the parade because it hadn't started yet. And we wanted to get back to the hotel. And with the parade, the roads were closed. We wanted to get out of there. And yeah, it was very relaxing. We spent a lot of time by the pool, by the beach. It wasn't a super rah, rah, rah trip. It was more like a, hey, let's celebrate you. Let's relax. Let's have fun with ourselves. Yeah. Should we get into what's happening in pop culture this week?
Have you been following the Nickelodeon documentary that just aired?
Working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship.
Dan's treatment of people on his shows was an open secret.
So my lawyer filed complaints, gender discrimination, hostile work environment, harassment, and it was so devastating.
How safe can any kids be in that environment?
I need to watch it because I'm glad that they actually have quite a few actors that I recognize and know rather than a bunch of random nobodies who were in the crew 20 years ago. And yeah, I want to watch it. It seems interesting. It seems scary. And that's something that I feel like Jan Schneider needs to be canceled if he hasn't already been canceled. Talk about cancellations.
Yeah, I feel like that man needs to be in jail. Every story that I've heard about is terrifying.
Yeah.
But then there's been a lot of interesting controversy about Ariana Grande.
Yeah, and the clips I've seen of the videos of Ariana Grande with a water bottle thrown all over her and her playing with phallus looking things.
The potato. Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato.
And it's wow. Yeah. I totally consumed that back then and didn't even bat an eye. And now rewatching it, it's whoa, that is crazy. But maybe yeah. I did see things that she took hush money. She's not going to speak about it. But also maybe she doesn't want to. Maybe it's, I feel like people deal with their past in different ways. But
absolutely.
Yeah, and she's also doing the most. Maybe because nobody else is booked and busy, they have time to talk about it. But I don't know. To each their own. You got to do what you got to do to heal. But yeah.
So now let's get into our question of the day. The question of the day is, what is your favorite song?
My favorite song is What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes. I love that song. I feel like it's an unexpected favorite song choice for people who may know me well because my favorite artists are the classic queens and princesses of pop. But that's my favorite song. I don't know why it's my favorite song. I think it's really fun to sing. It's just I don't know, it gets me in my groove walking down the street and listening to, hey, yeah, what's going on? I'm just yes, what is going on? I love that song. It's just a great song.
I had no idea what song you were talking about until you did that. So thank you for explaining that to me. That is a classic, actually.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a good one.
What's your favorite song?
So this is a tough question because I feel like I have a lot of favorite songs. But I think a song that defined a lot of my life And I built a brand, at least in my high school, of like this being my song. It's Swing by Ray Shremmerd. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to it too. Like, I think it came out freshman or sophomore year of high school, and it was just like my thing from then on. Like, I would walk into my friend's car and they would be like, "You're about to play the fucking song, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I am.
I will add that to my queue on Spotify after this for when I inevitably walk outside and listen to music, because that's the type of person I am, always listening to music. But this week, if you couldn't tell, we're doing something a little different. We're not talking about movies, TV shows, Glee. We're talking about music and our favorite music and our music takes and what we love about music. And do you have any personal, I guess, childhood stories to start us off? We can start from the beginning and then move on to the current day.
Yeah, music has always been a big part of my life. I was actually a violinist for 10 years. Yeah, I started second grade. Stopped when I went to college, which is one of my big regrets. I was just too nervous to audition, so I didn't do it. And I'm mad at myself for that. But it was something that my friends and I really connected to. One of my best friends, his name is actually Aidan. He would always like transcribe songs that I really like. So like he transcribed Swing once. I tried to transcribe it too, but I'm not good at it. We did a Kanye West medley for our senior concert, which again, he's canceled, but it was all of his classics. This was back in like 2018. I am super into like making music mashups of songs. I got deeper into that during the pandemic. And my goal in 2024 is to learn how to DJ. It's something that I need to do and I think has been cooking up for a while. But I have always been the person to like bring my speaker everywhere. I'm always the one on aux. But what's your life story with music?
But one thing that I did kind of behind closed doors was record songs when I was younger and make music videos to those songs.
You made me insecure, told me I wasn't good enough, but who are you to judge when you're
most of the songs that I recorded back then were Round and Round by Selena Gomez, Magic by Selena Gomez, the cover, and I thought it was an original Selena Gomez song back then, and then Emotions by Mariah Carey. I recorded those on loop over and over again and making music videos to them with photo booth. And sometimes my brother would come and join and I would boss him around because I was definitely a crazy controlling director back in the day. But it was cute. It was fun. And I would also write original songs. I had a whole notebook of songs that I wrote. My most prominent one was called Magazine. I still know the lyrics to this day, and one day maybe I'll re-record it. But just silliness. It was a way to express myself, and I still continue to this day record songs every once in a while. I don't really do it as much since I started working post-graduation, but I have recently recorded a music video to Don't Rain on My Parade, as well as Knee Deep, as well as Waterfalls, and Strawberry Wine. And me and my old roommate, we recorded a Christmas EP, which we have a few songs. So I'll have to talk to her to see about sharing some of them to insert some clips. But no matter what, I will share a taste of them. But I've always just loved that. I wouldn't say I'm like a big music person. Like people don't know me like for the music that I like or my music taste. Maybe they might know me for liking Britney Spears, maybe, but I'm not super focused on music. I haven't been to a whole lot of concerts. My first concert was with my whole family. We were seeing James Taylor at this amphitheater outside of St. Louis. Not really like a rah-rah, first concert, but James Taylor is great. Yeah, that's my life story with music.
I go to a lot of shows, and that like in-person experience of listening to music, especially when like you're listening to a song that you like listen to constantly, like day to day, like
and
seeing
it
that live. Like
yeah.
I can't think of many things that make me happier than that, which feels dramatic, but it's so wonderful.
No, it's so true. The Lord concert that I saw was Melodrama, and Melodrama is in my top 5 favorite albums. And that night it truly changed me. Hearing Supercut live and Green Light.
I do my makeup in somebody else's car. We order different drinks at the same bars.
Oh my gosh. We'll probably never see Britney Spears perform live, but I should go see people. I really want to see Miley Cyrus if she ever goes on tour in America. Speaking of Miley Cyrus is someone that is consistently on my, drumroll please, Spotify Wrapped. The intern that came up with that deserves a raise, as people have said all over the internet many times. But it's a fun way to end your year, see what you were listening to. So shall we pull up our Wrapped from our different music streaming apps that we use?
Yeah, so I should start this off by letting the public know that I do use Apple Music. And I've used Spotify in the past, and I think it's great. There are a lot of unique features. I just feel like, number one, the thing is they both pay artists shit. But Apple Music, I think, pays artists a little bit more. That's what I say to get people off my back when they first shit on me for not using Spotify. But I just really grew up on iTunes. So the transition to Apple Music just made more sense to me. Again, I used Spotify for a while and I was like, you know what? I don't need this many options. I know what I like. I know what I listen to. And I'm just going to do that. Do you have your Spotify Wrapped pulled up? Do you want to go first?
I do. I have them pulled up. I have 2021, 2022, 2023 pulled up just because they're all very similar and you can see trends. But 2021, top artists, Britney Spears, Glee cast, Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, and Lorde. So that was the year that Lorde's most recent album came out, because Solar Power was my number one song. Number 2 song was In the Heights from that movie that came out that year. And then flash forward to 2022, number 1, Britney Spears. Number 2, Glee cast. Number 3, Demi Lovato. Number 4, Miley Cyrus. And number 5, Lady Gaga. Great stuff. You can kind of see a trend with the artists that I listen to. And then finally, we are here at 2023. And my top artists were Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, Nicki Minaj, Lady Gaga, and Kylie Minogue. Fun fact, this was the first year since Spotify Wrapped has come out that Britney Spears has not been my number one artist. I'm not really sure what happened this past year. I feel like it was just such a Miley Cyrus year. And I've always loved Miley Cyrus, but I feel like her music I've always loved her music, but she's really been doing well the past few years. And that's what brought that. And this was also the first year since Spotify Wrapped came out that the Glee cast was not in my top 5 artists. So I don't know if I'm growing or maybe I should go. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a thing. And that's my Wrapped.
I love that. So let's see. On my Apple Music Wrapped, number 1 is 100 Gex, which is a very popular hyperpop duo. Obsessed with them. I've seen them 4 times live. Number 2, unfortunately, is Kanye West. And I have stopped listening to him since, but it's hard to explain that being a fan of his has actually been my personality since middle school. I used to have a 6-foot tapestry of this man, owned Yeezys, a lot of merch.
What was it about him that you love so much? I'm curious. Was it the music? Was it him as a person?
Before he clearly went through his spiral and actually became a horrible person, I really admired so my mom died when I was young, and he was one of the few artists who I felt really talked about that. And he turned it into not necessarily something that would hold him back, but he actually, I feel, for a moment got a lot stronger from it. And I really liked how he would always try to uplift himself, despite the fact that his mom was literally his number one champion. Like, Hey Mama is a beautiful song he wrote for her. And like, you watch these videos and you're like, they were best friends, and you can only imagine the grief that he went through after she died. But like, he still focused on being the best at what he did. And I just really admired that about him. And I loved his music. Obviously, don't listen to him anymore. It's like something that I feel like I grieve in a way. Like, I feel like I grieved an artist when he was going through all of his crazy statements, of which there have been too many to list. And it's like hard that, I don't know, I listened to him all the time. I looked up to him in a lot of ways before it all. But yeah, he was my number 2. Number 3 and 4 are actually the 2 members of 100 Gex. So that's Dylan Brady and Laura Les. I'm consistent. And then number 5 is Tokyo's Revenge. He's like a hardcore rapper that I'm obsessed with. 2022, number 1, Underscores, who I'm going to talk about a lot. She is my favorite artist of all time, and I met her on January 26th, and I'm obsessed with her.
Oh, you have the date down and everything.
No, I literally obsessed with her. It's hard to explain. Then Brockhampton, Tokyo's Revenge again, Juno, and then Lil Uzi Vert. And then 2023, again, number 1, Underscores. Number 2, Juno, who's another like small hyperpop-ish artist. Number 3, Doja Cat. I really liked her new album, and I listened to it more than I realized. Number 4, Nicki Minaj. And number 5, 100 Gex again. So I, feel pretty consistent about my music taste as well, besides the falling off of one of those people.
Hey, I wanna scream so loud for you, 'cause I'm so proud of you.
Moving on to the next question, favorite artists in general. It sounds like those that you just mentioned are probably your favorite artists. Would you say there's one that sticks out post-Kanye, pre-Kanye, or just maybe Kanye for that era?
It was definitely Kanye for like the middle school, high school era. Underscores. So it's actually really funny because 100 Gex is an artist that I didn't like when I first listened to them, because I don't think I understood the genre of hyperpop at that point. It was very experimental, and I was like, oh, I can't listen to this. But then I became obsessed with them. And I don't know, something just switched on in my brain. And so I went to a 100 Gex concert, and Underscores opened for them. And I was like, what is happening to me right now? Because this feels like the best music I've ever heard in my entire life. It's interesting because there's this whole conversation about the genre of hyperpop and how that was something that really kind of existed 2020, like 2019, 2020. And the electronic music genre has now shifted to post hyperpop. Where it's still that kind of heavy electronic music, but it mixes every genre. Like Underscores, her new album, Wall Socket, has a lot of like country and folk, and like she really mixes every genre. It's very alternative. I don't think anyone is making music like her. Anthony Fantano ranked her album really high. It was in his top 50 best albums of 2023. The Atlantic named her album in the top 10 of 2023. Like, she is really growing an audience that I think she really deserves. Like, her music has done so much for me emotionally. She has a lot of songs where she talks about being trans, and she talks about her identities. And it's just like, I don't know. I could go on and on about her, and I already have, but I highly recommend everyone listen to Underscores.
My favorite artist, you could probably guess by the consistency in my raps. Britney Spears is up there. I think that even before everything came out about her conservatorship, not that I was, a huge fan in 2006, when I was not listening to Britney Spears when I was 5 years old, but I don't, her music is just so, she's, people say, oh, this is a no skip album. Well, she's a no skip artist for me. Every song I will listen to, and I'm the type that I hear the first few beats. and bam, I can tell you what song it is. And I feel like she deserves more credit. I feel like people don't take her seriously, or they didn't for a long time. As a songwriter, as a vocalist, I know that her voice is definitely not a traditional, oh, you're a powerhouse vocalist, but she started out at the Mickey Mouse Club and she could sing really well, and she has sung live recently in her most recent residency. Of course, she's known for lip syncing, but I feel like she deserves more credit. She's a great performer, she's a great dancer, and she's a great vocalist. Yes, from my Spotify Wrapped, you might guess that pop is what I listen to most, but I wouldn't say that I don't really discriminate against genres. I choose what I listen to based on the song. And so when you're scrolling through my like songs, it really is all over the place. There's rap, there's pop, there's classic rock, there's ballads and show tunes, and it really is very diverse. And I pride myself on that. And I like what I like. And yes, many people will call my Spotify rap basic because it's Lady Gaga and Britney Spears and Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus, but I like what I like, and they make good music, and I think all of them are really amazing.
I feel like for me, there's been an interesting trend, I feel, of like songs getting really popular off of TikTok. And I feel like there's that one song, When I'm Back in Chicago. I can't sing. You know what I'm talking about? But like now that's all over my For You page, but now I'm tired of it. So I think, I don't know, what are your thoughts on TikTok and music and how it's kind of shaped the industry in a way?
Yes, there are like TikTokers who become famous, but it's also, I feel like it launched Doja Cat's career with her songs that were trending. And I feel like the key to success nowadays is if you can have a trending sound on TikTok, you will have a Billboard Hot 100. And that's just how it's going right now. Will TikTok be banned? I don't know. I feel like every few months there's a scare that TikTok's going to get banned. This one sounds pretty serious, but also I don't really care. But I do think that it's interesting to see artists now release music, and you can tell when they have a line or a bridge, and oh, you're trying to make this for TikTok because someone can lip sync this and do this or have a dance to this, and I'm not digging that. I feel like it's just another marketing tool, and it's obviously working. So kudos to you. And I am one of the number one consumers of TikTok, so I'm right there up there with them, listening and streaming those songs. And I've found a lot of great music from TikTok. That's not just the popular ones and the trending ones, but I also like those too. But it's a great way to get your music out there if you're a young artist, and it's a great way to keep making money if you're already a big artist. So win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just remembered I made a playlist back in 2020 called TikTok Bangers, and it was just all the songs that I loved purely from TikTok. And they were all like, they had dances to them, or they were just a part of some trend. And then I would look it up and I would be like, oh my God, this is actually an incredible song. So yeah, I think it's interesting how TikTok has really changed the industry in a way.
And hearing all these TikTokers who didn't start out making music, just dancing, and now they're releasing songs, and that whole trend with the A, B, C, D, E, F, U. I feel like everybody started making songs that had to do with counting and the alphabet. Right. And I'm glad that trend died, but TikTok is running the industry right now. So hopefully it doesn't get banned.
I completely agree.
Do you have any music hot takes? Totally off topic. I'm just pivoting. I know that some people might be embarrassed to say they like TikTok music, but I'm not. And I don't know if there's anything else that you're a little embarrassed. I feel like we're both very proud and unapologetic about what we like. So
I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed about anything. I don't like Taylor Swift. I don't like it. This feels like a little bit less of a hot take now. I think she is kind of garnering criticism, especially after her move at the Grammys, which I thought was in very poor taste, announcing an album in front of your peers. You're not in front of your fans. This is crazy. I also feel like she just postures as someone who cares about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, like, I don't. I think she does everything for her image, and she's very smart about it. I also just generally don't like her music. I'll say, like, I have listened to a lot of her music in the past, but like her older stuff that I feel are more classics, like Love Story.
We were both young when I first saw you. I closed my
I was a big Kanye fan back in the day, and obviously there was that huge feud between the two of them.
Yes.
And I would honestly get into arguments with a lot of people about it, where it's like, yes, Kanye shouldn't have done that. Like, she was 18 years old, whatever. But I do think, and I've seen a lot of TikToks about this too, where I just really feel like Taylor really gave into this victim mentality. Like, this Black man did this horrible thing to me, and I'm just an innocent white girl. Like, please feel bad. And I think, like, even if she didn't ask for people to feel that way, it showed that in our culture. But I don't like her for a lot of reasons. And that's my take.
I'm sort of with you on that one. I definitely think that Taylor Swift is very talented, and she's obviously done a lot of... She got this far. I mean, you can't just do that with nothing. And I do like some of her songs. Reputation's probably my favorite album of hers. So I'm not going to... a lot of my friends like her, so I'm going to choose my words wisely, but also I'm going to just say what I think. I agree with what you said, because it reminded me of when she was dating Matt Healy, or linked to Matt Healy, and then he said all those racist things, and then 2 seconds later she's best friends with Ice Spice and is featuring her on Midnights. That was you're right, she is one of the most calculated people in the industry, and I'm not saying she's the only calculated person in the industry, but after that happened, I was like, oh wow, using a woman of color to protect your image because your boyfriend is racist. I've always kind of been like, Taylor Swift, I don't get the hype. She's good. But that was like, oh, you're a smart woman and very conniving. Conniving's the word.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think, like, you're right, so many other people do it, but like, and I found it so annoying, especially knowing all of these things about her. And also, whenever I watch videos of her performing, I'm like, this is crazy. Why does she intro every song on concert? Like, have you guys ever been a little age called 22? And then she'll play 22. Not to be a hater.
And don't say that around Swifties, because Swifties are some of the craziest fans I've ever encountered. I think they're not used to hearing negative things about quote unquote America's sweetheart. But when someone has one valid critique about Taylor Swift, it's like their world crumbles down.
Absolutely. Do you have any other hot takes or?
Yeah. I feel like my whole music taste is a hot take. My friends don't like my music taste. Whenever I was the driver in high school, and I continue to be the driver in adulthood because I love to drive. I'm not complaining about it. I love it. And so when I was growing up and my mom would bring us to school, if we wanted to listen to something, she would say, oh, well, when you're driving, then you can choose the music. So I took that to heart. And now I choose the music when I drive because I feel like I should be able to. And I am very good about having requests and adding things to queue and making playlists that a lot of people would like. But I like things that a lot of people don't like. I love country music, which isn't as much of a hot take as it used to be, I feel like. But I love country music. I feel like it's my favorite genre, and not this new age Morgan Wallen country music. I really love the 90s, early 2000s. Joe DiMessina, Reba, Shania Twain, Dolly Parton, The Chicks. It makes me feel nostalgic, and I don't think I grew up listening to a whole lot of country music, but it does remind me of Missouri and growing up with horses around me and that world. And I will always listen to a good 90s, 2000s country playlist. It just brings me joy.
Well, I remember it all very well. Looking back, it was the summer I turned 18. We lived in a one-room rundown shack on the outskirts of New Orleans.
Well, if you were driving now, what would be your go-to maybe handful of songs on aux? What are you listening to these days?
Let me pull up what I do is I like songs and then I just play my first few like songs on repeat whenever I leave the house.
I do that
so
too,
right now,
all the time.
Right now I have Erica Jane, Real Houses of Beverly Hills. She makes music, but she just released a new song called Bounce, and it's good. I also am listening to a TikTok song, that Made For Me song. It's the one, do you know the one I'm talking about? It goes, where have you been? Nobody knows me.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You do.
I have heard that one.
That song, Doctor by Miley Cyrus, Love On by Selena Gomez, and I've been loving Chapel Rowan and a bunch of other random ones like $1 Million Bills by Lorde, The Fear by Lily Allen, Eat Your Young by Hozier, Baby It's You by JoJo. Random group. Some of that's old, some of that's new, but that's what's on my rotation right now. How about you?
So I am fairly consistent at this moment. I think I mentioned this earlier in the episode. I've kind of only been using SoundCloud for the last 3 months. I think it's the best way to connect with an artist and for an artist to connect with their fans. And I just like how anyone can upload music there. Because again, Spotify, Apple Music, these big corporations are crazy about it. And I like the community feel of SoundCloud. So that's my ad for SoundCloud, apparently. So I guess I'll list off a few songs off of SoundCloud. All from Underscores Unreleased, Full Throttle, Cold Turkey, Sandbar 2005, Calm You Down, Oil Spill Therapy, You're Not Really About It. And then on the DJ side, these songs are like actually crazy. And I hope everyone is like writing this down because these actually go so hard. Black Car, parentheses, I Want to Ride, Dilly Dallying, Can't Get You Out of My Mind. I've been watching a lot of DJ sets online. Like I have gotten into a habit of going to a lot of DJ shows because the people I love are based in New York and I feel lucky to get to go see them. And I think DJing is such an incredible talent. And I feel like ever since I was growing up, I would hear like connections between songs and I'd be like, oh, these two would like flow into the other so well. And I really think DJing is in my future. And I'm saying it here so that I eventually get to that point and I hold myself accountable.
I definitely think you should try the DJ thing. I know that everybody's trying to be a DJ, but also everybody's trying to be a podcast host, and you already did one of those, so might as
Everyone's trying to get into comedy, and I do that.
Exactly.
So, hey, what's another thing?
Exactly. Try it out. What's the worst that could happen?
Exactly.
I hope you all enjoy this episode. Let us know what your favorite artists are, what your favorite song is, why maybe you love Taylor Swift. We'll hear it. I'll listen to it because to each their own. Again,
share your thoughts with us, Banterly at immigrantlypod.com, and engage with us on our socials at Immigrantly Media on Instagram and at Immigrantly Podcast on TikTok.
Banterly is produced by Shay Yu, written by us, the co-host Aditi Misra and Aidan Taylor. The executive producer and editorial review is done by Sadia Khan.
Our sound designer and editor is Steve Martin. The Banterly theme music is by Simon Hutchinson. Additional music is by Epidemic Sound. See y'all next week.